Hi guys, my name's Max and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm bringing to you my August book haul. Alright guys, so it has been a hectic month when it comes to book buying and receiving, and I'm really excited to share with you the books that I've got in the month of August because there's a few of them. So far, I have collected 15 books in the month of August. 3 of these from book boxes, 1 of these from a publisher, and 1 from a book trade. And the remainder of them I got myself, but I'm excited to share them with you and tell you why I bought them and what they're about, and hopefully you get some good books out of this one. And I'm excited to dive into most of these. They are a really different bunch of books, but let's just get straight into the book haul. So starting off with the book I received from a publisher, I received Mirage by Samaya Daud, which is a really cool read, which I've already read in the month of August. I will leave my wrap up above so you can go see my thoughts on this one. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and it basically follows 18-year-old Amani, who is stripped from her home, her small farming town, and kind of abducted by the Vathek Empire. She strongly resembles Princess Maram, and basically she's taken as a body double against her will. They strip her of her culture and her name, and she is sent off to these dangerous situations for the princess, so if she dies, at least it's not the future queen. So this book was really interesting. It was full of rich culture and complex world building, and I really loved it. It was a great sci-fi, and it's kind of like a Moroccan inspired, so it was a really enjoyable read. And thank you very much to Hashtag Australia for sending this one to me for review. The next book I received from a trade on Instagram from Leash Fanciful. I will leave a link to her Instagram down below, but I traded with her for Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian, and it follows Theodessa, who was 6 when her country was invaded and her mother, the Fire Queen, was murdered. Theo is now crowned the Ash Princess, a title of shame in her life as a prisoner. And for 10 years she has basically been captive in her own palace. She has endured abuse and powerless and trying to survive, and one night she is forced to do the unthinkable, and I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm excited to hear about this one. I haven't heard too much about it, but I'm interested to see what happens because it says on the back, her mind is sharper than any sword and power isn't always won on the battlefield. So I'm excited to see what I think about this one, and it seems like a really cool fantasy. The next 3 books I have received in book boxes, and the first one I want to talk to you about is My Plain Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brodie Ashton, and Jodie Meadows. I read My Lady Jane last year or the year before last, and it was freaking phenomenal. I loved it. It's like a historical retelling, but then they just flip it on its head, and it's awesome. Now, this is a retelling of Jane Eyre that, again, has been flipped on its head, and it's amazing. It says on the back, "You may think you know the story. After a miserable childhood, penniless orphan Jane Eyre becomes a governess at Thornfield Hall. There she meets one dark, brooding Mr. Rochester." I'm excited to see that. I love when they just swap it on its head. I really love these 3 writing. I think it's really fun and fantastic, and they always bring something different. So really excited that I got a copy of this one. And then I also got Grace and Fury by Tracy Banghart in a Fairy Loot box. I'm not sure which box it was, but I'm excited about this one too. I've read this one already. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I believe I read it in July, and it's a story of 2 sisters, and one has been trained her whole life to be a Grace, which is the epitome of a perfect woman who stands beside the throne, gives the crown heirs, etc. And the other is kind of a rebel, and something happens, and one of the girls is sent to a prison, the other one is stuck in the castle, playing the political game, and it's really interesting. It's like a kind of a book on survival and how these sisters are trying to come back together and what they would do for each other, and I really enjoyed it. It was a great starting novel, as well as I can't wait to read the next one in the series, but this cover is just stunning, and the book was really awesome as well. And the next book I received in the most recent Fairy Loot, and it is These Rebel Waves by Sarah Rash, and it has amazing stained edges, which Fairy Loot is just rocking at the moment. Honestly, I don't know much about this one. I haven't read too much about it, but I know it's definitely at sea. But it says on the back, a revolution, a raider, a prince will fight for their countries, their families, themselves, or face a war that could destroy the world as they know it. Let's just leave it like that. It seems like it's got magic, a lot of political stuff in it as well, and it's got heretics as well, so it's really got a little bit of everything, and I love the cover. I think it's really cool and intricate designs. It looks very piratey. Okay, the rest of the books I kind of went overboard and bought myself, but let's start with the graphic novels. First up, Spider-Man, Deadpool, Volume 1, Isn't It Romantic? really, really good. Again, this one was in my August wrap-up and I really, really enjoyed it. The banter between these characters are amazing. The storyline was really, really cool and fun. Like a little bit romantic, if you know what I mean. It's about kind of Deadpool wanting to assassinate Peter Parker, not knowing that Spider-Man is Peter Parker, and the only way to get to Peter Parker would be to get Spider-Man out of the way, and it's very interesting, and I'm really excited to see where this one goes. This one is by Joe Kelly, and I think they did a great job. The artwork is beautiful, and it really blended well with the dialogue. The next graphic novel I got was Giant Days Volume 1 by John Allison and Lisa Tryman. I got this one from a recommendation from Chelsea Dolan Reads. She has a contemporary-a-thon coming up in September, and I wanted to join in. So she read this one last contemporary-a-thon, I think, so I thought I would grab it and read along this time, and you'll see my TBR later in the month. I'm not sure what it's about. I believe it's a graphic novel set in college, and I think the characters want to reinvent themselves, so excited to dive into this one. And then we have Snot Girl by Brian Lee O'Malley and Leslie Hung. I really related to this character. I think she's a blogger, a famous blogger or something. Not that I'm that. But I've got a lot of bad allergies, and this character has a lot of bad allergies. It follows Lottie Person, who is a glamorous fashion blogger living her best life. At least that's what she wants you to think. The truth is her allergies are out of control, her friends are terrible people, her boyfriend traded her up for someone younger, and she may or may not have killed somebody. That sounds fun. It also might be one I can fit into the contemporary-a-thon because it seems really contemporary based, so excited to read this one, and I'm excited to see if I can relate to her as a character. Okay, the next 3 books I bought were from the same author, and it's because I read Alice by Christina Henry last month, so I immediately bought Red Queen, Lost Boy, and The Mermaid. Now, I wasn't going to get all of them. I specifically went for Red Queen, which is a follow-on to Alice. Alice is about a girl who is basically sent to an asylum because she disappeared and then rocks up like bloodied and talking about a rabbit attacking her, and it's really, really strange. It was a really, really good book. It was a lot darker than I thought it was, so I thought I would continue on those dark, creepy reads as we head into October. And I wanted to see where the story went because it kind of finished off fine, but you knew that the story was going further, so I just want to see where it goes. And then I went for Lost Boy, Peter Pan retelling, and it says, there is one version of my story that everyone knows, and then there is a truth. Once I loved a boy called Peter Pan. Peter brought me to his island because there were no rules and no grown-ups to make us mind. He brought boys from other places to join the fun, but Peter's idea of fun is sharper than a pirate's sword. He wants always to be that shining sun that we all revolve around. He'll do anything to be that sun. Peter promised we would all be young and happy forever. Peter will say I'm the villain, that I wronged him, that I was never his friend. Peter lies. So excited to see this twist on a classic. Christina Henry has a way of making everything darker, and I really enjoyed that in Alice, so I'm excited to see what I think of Lost Boy as well. And then we have The Mermaid. Now, nothing hooked me. Like, I wasn't gonna buy this one. Then I read the synopsis and I was like, I need that book in my life, and I'm so excited that I've got it. I'm gonna read you the back as well. I'm sorry that I'm just reading off the back, but I feel like you get the desired effect if I read exactly what the author wrote. It said, once there was a fisherman who lived on a cold, rocky coast and was never able to convince any woman to come away and live in that forbidding place with him. One evening he pulled up his net and found a woman in it. A woman with black hair and eyes as grey as a stormy sea and a gleaming fishtail instead of legs. The storm in her eyes rolled into his heart. She stopped her thrashing and crashing at his voice, though she did not understand his words. But the eyes had seen inside of him, and the loneliness caught her more surely than the net. So she stayed with him and loved him, though he grew old and she did not. Remarks of this strange and unusual woman travelled from village to village, town to town, until they reached the ears of a man whose business was in the selling of strange and unusual. His name was P.T. Barnum, and he'd been looking for a mermaid. Oh my god. I watched The Greatest Showman and I loved it, and I'm excited to see what happens with this one because I know Barnum in real life was a lot crueler than it led on in The Greatest Showman, and I'm really excited to see what Christina does with this because I guarantee she will show the cruelty, and I'm ready for it. The next book I want to show you is Not a Drop to Drink by Mindy McGinnis, and I've been eyeing this one off for ages. It's basically a world where there's no water, and our main character, Lynn, knows how to protect her pond. She has water, she keeps it safe, and she's pretty confident in her own abilities to protect the pond. She's been taught by her mother. That is until wisps of smoke on the horizon and mysterious footprints around it. Lynn knows exactly what everybody wants, and they won't stop until they get it, but she will do all that she can to protect this pond. I'm excited to read this one. I think it would be a really scary one because the thought of no water is terrifying. I think this is going to be a really, really interesting one. It's going to put a lot of perspective into life as well, I think. Now, on the recommendation of my girl Jess from Jess Reads Books, I bought We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson, and this one is another strange one. I've gone a little bit out of my comfort zone this month with my buying, and I'm excited about it because all of these books really, really intrigue me. Now, this one follows Henry Denton, and Henry Denton has basically had a pretty hard life. He hasn't had it easy, and then I believe aliens come down, and basically there's a button and he's got to decide whether he pushes it and kills humanity or doesn't push it and saves them all. So yeah, they've given him 144 days to make up his mind, and I cannot wait to see where the story goes because it's kind of contemporary, but then there's that aspect of the sci-fi which I'm going to just adore, I can tell. And then next one we have recommended from G at Book Rose, and that is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Another weird one. I'm going really thrillery sort of this month. It follows Jason Dessen, who goes to sleep with a wife and a child and just living their lives, and wakes up and apparently that's not his life and he's now a genius and there's scientists around him. He doesn't know whether the life he is in or the other one is the dream, and he's confused and he's trying to work it out, and he mostly just wants to get back to his family. But is that really his family? I don't know. It's going to be a psychological thriller. I'm excited to see which one is right. I feel like I'm really going out of my comfort zone, but I think I'm gonna really enjoy it. G said it's a good one, so fingers crossed I love it too. And last but not least, this is a book that I have been waiting for, and I don't think I've shown it to you before. This is a book that I've been waiting for ages. I saw the synopsis when I was looking at new releases and it caught my eye immediately, and that is Contagion by Erin Bowman. I'm going to read this from the synopsis as well because I don't want to get it wrong. So it says, "It got us in. After receiving an urgent SOS from a work detail on a distant planet, a skeleton crew is dispatched to perform a standard search and rescue mission. Most are dead. But when the crew arrives, they find an abandoned site littered with rotten food, discarded weapons, and dead bodies." I'm sorry, my dad's doing something with the excavator. He clearly hates me right now, but I'm going to continue, so ignore the beeping. Don't set foot here again. As they try to piece together who or what could have decimated an entire operation, they realize that some things are best left buried and some monsters are only too ready to be awakened. It's monsters, it's sci-fi based, I'm loving it. There's going to be so many things in here that intrigue me, and I'm excited to see how Erin Bowman writes this one, because I feel like it might be a new fave. Alright, I'm just going to finish this one up here because I got beeping going on outside, my bird's going nuts, I'm just clearly not having a good filming day. So those are the books that I bought in the month of August, and I hope I enjoy them. I'm stepping a little bit outside my comfort zone in regards to contemporary graphic novels, as well as a lot of dense thrillery sci-fi. That's it for me today, guys. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more and have not already, and chat to me down in the comments. Let me know what books you bought in the month of August. Did you step outside your comfort zone? Let me know. I make videos every Monday and Thursday, and I'll see you in a new one. Bye!